Sup, fucker?
How the hell are you?
Great.
Good.
Great.
So one thing that I wasn't sure if I had shared with you is this guy right here.
Oh,
in real
let's see.
life. This Broncanus.
It's the mighty Broncanus. Now he's painted. He looks awesome. He looks like he's ready to roll higher than an 8. Yeah, our last D&D session, we got beat.
9.
Oh. Got him.
Yeah, he's got a little bit of blood on him. Blood splatter from the priest. But he looks like he's ready for battle, dude. All we need is a dungeon master that's ready to play.
Well, is consistently ready to play is the problem. Now, he did message me about it, and I was like, well, I would, but Yeg's out of town, and he doesn't get back till Monday, so we'll figure something out.
I feel like I could give him shit because he's not going to listen to this, so...
No, he never does. Which is always like a weird...
Where did we leave off? Did you listen to it?
It's always kind of a weird conundrum when, like, your friends openly admit they don't listen to your show.
Yeah.
Because you're like, man, if you had a show, I would listen.
Yeah.
But then I go, I don't know. There's some of our friends that if they had a podcast, I probably wouldn't listen to because I can't listen to them in real life.
Yeah.
It's like, I get it. It's fair.
Yeah, there's been certain things that I like will pull up from at different episodes, like different moments during the episodes that I'll pull up for like Stitch and Pat.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll fucking laugh their asses off. And it's like, yeah, if you just listen to the episode, the rest of the episode just like that, just like, I just can't think of what we were talking about because we'll like be talking about something like, oh, dude, that reminds me, dude, you gotta check this out. And I'll play the clip, find the clip, play it, and they think it's hilarious, and then it's like, yeah, the rest of the episode's like that too. Like, we're just talking about dumb shit.
Which is literally what we do in real life.
Yeah.
We just do it into a microphone.
Yeah.
And then post it for everybody to hear it.
Yeah. Yeah, anybody that's willing to listen.
All 7 or 8 of them.
That's fair. You know, I'll take those 7 and 8. And,
yeah.
You know, if they want to listen.
It's better than 0.
Yeah. Even myself, like, I listen to them and laugh along with us laughing about stupid shit.
Same. When you get to relive, like, those certain moments.
Yeah.
Where, you know, while you were doing that episode and you were just, like, trying to choke it back because it was so funny, but you're still laughing out loud.
Right.
And then you listen to it again and you get to just, like, fully relive that moment. It's just great.
Yeah. Yeah. So... September's coming up.
I was just thinking about this morning. I already know what you're going to say.
What?
Phenomicon.
You want to go?
Yeah.
Let's do it, dude. I don't know if my brother's going, and Kara didn't get a spot in there selling shit, whatever, but we can still go.
I'm 100% down.
So it's like Wednesday through Saturday, and it's on our Hell Week.
Mm-hmm.
So I have that Thursday off, but I could get Wednesday off also. I don't know what your schedule is for that.
I'll just take both days off.
Sick.
Yeah, because I remember we talked about this, but what I want to do is actually go down for a few days.
Yeah.
And so if we were to go down, let's say Wednesday, we could go down Wednesday and Thursday and just like shoot some of the locations and things like that, get some cool still pictures, some video and things like that. Kind of scout around and see if we actually see or experience anything, and then go to Phenomicon and we can kind of record our whole experience there and just, you know, make one big cool fucking video out of it and be able to share that, you know.
Yeah, well, they have like so they'll have a lineup of like all the speakers that are that are scheduled and what times and shit like that, so we can like go to the ones that we're interested in watching and listening to, and then just like some of them are just like obscure like ghost hunter shit, which I'm still into watching those. I listen to those guys talk. Most of them are like people that have like legitimate shows on Sci-Fi Network or whatever it's on, History Channel. But a lot of the like Skinwalker Ranch, I mean, we can go and do that shit at nighttime too, kind of go on the outskirts of the ranch and just kind of post up and see if we see anything. But like McConkey Ranch is right there, and that's where like the petroglyphs and shit are. That's only about 10 minutes outside of Vernal proper, where the Phenomicon is taking place, so we can go out there at any point during the day to check those out and get pictures and footage and shit like that of those areas.
I'm 100% in.
And then Red Fleet isn't too far. It's about 20 minutes outside of Vernal. And that's where they have like the dinosaur footprints and shit like that. So there's a hike that you take, and it's maybe a mile and a half hike from where you park, and you go along this trail, and there's just like different dinosaurs footprints in the sandstone along the trail until you get to the actual lake, Red Fleet, which is like, they call it mini Powell, is the way that the lake is shaped. It kind of has all these little jagged finger canyons and shit like that where you can take boats up in there. But the bank that it comes to is an ancient mud flat that's kind of propped up now. It's kind of on an angle, but it's all sandstone now. It used to be a mud flat, and there's just fucking dinosaur footprints all over the side of that whole. It's like would say a cliff, but it's not really a cliff. It's like just an angle. Almost looks like a boat ramp, but it's all just sandstone. But super cool area with a lot of. And then if you go to actual Dinosaur National Park, which is maybe 40 minutes outside of Vernal, but there are a lot of petroglyphs there.
Yeah, I've been there. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Especially that inside area they have where it's like a big wall of them.
Right.
And you can see them on the ground below you and shit like that. Like that's really cool to go see.
Yeah. But yeah, there's different stops along that site, or that National Park Drive. Or, there's like a roadway that goes through there and stops at all the different dinosaur places. But along that whole area, there's different places where you can stop and go and check out petroglyphs also. The people that lived there 500-600 years ago made these petroglyphs on the walls.
Of all the astronauts.
Of all the...
in the time portals.
Time portals and astronauts that are, allegedly around Skinwalker Ranch.
Maybe we'll meet some star people.
Maybe
we'll see if Travis Walton's pee doesn't make a sound too. Because we've established
imagine that
his poop doesn't make a sound.
His poop does not make a sound. At least the poop that I witnessed.
That's a reference to the Skinwalker Ranch episode, if you don't get that one.
Yeah. Imagine going there and standing next to him taking a leak, and it's just like super silent. I wonder if he's going to be there this year.
I wonder if his hair is still the same color.
If it changed this year to anything other than fucking...
that beautiful copper color.
Copper. I would allege that he probably got visited again,
Yeah. The men in black were like, you need to stop talking about it.
Yeah.
And we're taking away your Just for Men.
Maybe it'll be like a dark maroonish brown, like Mark Wallen's hair used to be.
for that 1 week, and then it started washing out with every shower.
That was so funny. Like, because I remember seeing him, like, when I first started there, and then, like, all of a sudden I saw him again, and he had, like, this super dark, it was almost maroon.
It was definitely not a natural hair color.
No. And then all the stages it went through to get back to, like, the gray. Like, dude, your hair looks fine gray, man. Leave it.
Yeah, that's a funny thing. I think we just, like, so naturalized it with women to dye their hair. And we don't care. It's like, you know, do you?
Yeah.
With dudes, it's kind of off-putting. Because most of the time, men age gracefully as it is. Like, when your hair goes gray, just leave it gray. It's cool.
Yeah.
It makes you look smarter than you really are. Especially in his case.
Yeah.
But when you just randomly come to work one day and your hair is suddenly like a super dark auburn, like nobody's going to notice. Yeah,
that fucking guy looks... Oh, shit, that's Mark.
And then over the span of a week and you start seeing it wash out and you're like, you know, I'm not going to hate. If you want to color your hair, go color your hair. Yeah. But maybe don't act like we're not going to notice. And try something a little bit more natural.
50-year high school reunion you had to go to or something.
Had a hot date.
Maybe. Never know.
Yeah. His Grindr profile said he liked red hair. So we went for it.
I went for it. Guess what? It fucking worked.
It worked.
No, I don't know. I have a buddy that I never knew always dyed his hair black. Like the whole time that I knew him. Like, so I met this guy when I was like probably 30, maybe late 20s, and he's probably like 10 years older than me. So I guess he started going gray like super early, and he had always used Just for Men, and his hair was always super jet black. And I hadn't seen him for like 2 months, and then went to my buddy's house and he was there, and I just looked over and I was like, didn't even recognize him at first. He's got like long hair and like beard, and it was just like all the way gray. Like everything was gray, not even wash out, not even like transitioning from like black to gray. It was just gray. I hadn't seen him in that long, and I just looked over and I was like, oh fuck.
Did you get divorced?
What Moses, is that you? But he was like, oh yeah, I just didn't dye, I stopped dyeing my hair. And I was like, shit, I didn't even know you ever fucking dyed your hair. He's like, oh, I've been dyeing my hair for 15 years.
Was he a white guy?
He's half Samoan, half white.
Oh, okay, so
but he has like long dreads and like a beard.
So you can pass that off, that particular color, if you're ethnic of some kind. But if you're a white dude and you have jet black hair, nah, bro.
Yeah.
You ain't fooling.
No,
nobody.
I mean, he looked totally natural, and I just never knew that he dyed his hair, which makes sense because his wife is a hairdresser, and so he'd always have his hair dyed all the time. And I just never knew that he was full gray, like gray.
You know what's funny? It's only been in like the last year that I started sprouting gray hairs. Like I always had one on my chest right here, and then I had one buried in my beard for the longest time. And then just in this past year, they're just sprigging up everywhere. And I'm like, you know what? Just go full gray. Get it over with. I bet it'll look way cooler.
It's Silver Fox, dude.
Silver Fox. Like Tom Cruise in Collateral.
Yeah, I'm getting like all these sparkles on all around this one fucking section right under my chin here.
But it works because you still have naturally jet black hair.
Yeah, and when the sun hits, it just looks like I'm fucking sparkling like a Twilight vampire.
Edward! Have you seen there's like a guy, he does these skits of like redoing movie scenes, but in an Australian accent?
No.
He does one for Twilight. He's like posing as Edward and Bella. He's like, as Edward, he's like, say it. She goes, vampire. And then it cuts to another scene, and he's like, Bella, nor.
Nor. Is that where that comes from? Because I always thought it came from the fucking... There's like a mermaid show. My kids watch this stupid fucking mermaid show. About these mermaids, and they live in Australia. And one of the girls, like her family line, they're all mermaids. They can turn into mermaids. I don't know why I know the storyline, but yeah, they... Oh, Nor!
Nor!
So my kids... I always thought it was from that, but that makes more sense. Better Nor.
Bella, nor. Gets me every time. Me and Scott say that shit all the time. Bella.
That makes more sense.
I think it's originally from there.
Maybe.
Could be. The Aussie accent isn't the most attractive accent, but it's definitely the most interesting.
Yeah.
Because the way they pronounce certain words is just it's comical, but it's oddly charming at the same time. I don't understand.
Have you seen that Shane Gillis when he's talking about like he's a comedian?
Yeah.
Talking about how funny the Australian accent is. He's like, they could be saying anything in Australian with an Australian accent and it would be hilarious. Like thinking about if there was like a Australian guy at the Twin Towers when they got hit by the plane.
Oh, Nor!
Oh, Nor! There's another one!
There's another one! Look out!
Look out! Yeah, he has a whole fucking spiel about that. It's hilarious.
He's pretty fucking funny.
Yeah.
Some of the shit he talks about, especially when he talks about Trump.
Yeah.
Because he's like playing both sides of the audience at the same time, and I'm like, this guy is fucking sharp.
Yeah.
Because he's not like decisively picking a side.
Mm-hmm.
He's just telling jokes that appeal to both sides at the same time.
Right.
And it's like, that's the way comedy should be done.
Exactly. It's like funny because it's funny.
Yeah.
And you don't have to like be super one side or the other. Like both sides can be made fun of at any time. Like,
it's all a joke.
Yeah.
I mean,
plus his like impression of Trump is fucking spot on.
oh, it's really good.
Yeah. So they have a TV show, I don't know if you've seen that on Netflix, called Tires,
Oh yeah.
where they're all like tire salesmen.
Yeah.
I only watched a few episodes. It's kind of funny, but like it's funny to see all those comedians. And like Schultz is in it, and Andrew Schultz and Stavros.
Those guys are fucking
All
savages.
Yeah, yeah. Kind of waiting for that show to get like to that point where it's just like fucking brutal.
You know, and it's funny when people talk about like, oh, you can't do comedy like you used to, and you can't say this or that or whatever, and then you have these comedians like those guys, like Schultz and McGillis, and what's the other guy? It's on the roast of Tom Brady. Hinchcliffe.
Yeah.
All those guys, like, they're not stopping.
No.
They're not changing up their attitude. They're not... I mean, they're not outwardly offensive. Like, they're not going out of their way to, you know, attack the LGBTQ people.
Yeah.
I try not to say mafia. But, you know...
Still accurate.
Yeah. But it's like, they tell these jokes that are just purely savage, and they'll tell jokes about anybody.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, whoever gets caught in the crosshair shouldn't be offended, because they'll go for anybody.
Yeah.
They don't give a shit.
Yeah.
They'll go for themselves, too.
They'll go for what's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the problem, is people can't just, like, think about comedy as just being subjective.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if I tell you a joke that maybe offends you, you might go, yeah, I don't find it funny, but I see how it is funny.
Yeah.
You know? And I think we need to just, like, let comedy be comedy.
Yeah. In a super broad sense, yes. You need to like put your feelings aside and see, oh, okay, this guy is telling a joke. It is funny. Yes, it is funny.
Yeah, I mean, some comedians tell jokes that once in a while I just don't laugh at. And even, did you watch Jimmy Carr's last special? So, you know who that is?
Yeah.
So he was doing this whole bit about consent and everything else, and he was like schooling this audience member on that because he was like 17 or something, and the bit went on a little bit too long. And I get what he was trying to do, but there was a couple parts of it where I was just like, I don't find that funny, but I get why other people are laughing.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's really hard to put yourself in that mindset to go, I may not connect with that joke, but other people are laughing. Let them laugh. Let them have their moment.
Right.
So with that said, I think comedy should be fucking savage.
Oh, so do I. Like, and also, like, I find myself, like, if I do get offended by something, I'll think about it and be like, the reason why I'm offended by this is my own fault, not the person's fault for saying it, you know, as a joke. Like,
I agree.
Which I rarely get offended by anything that anybody says because
Same.
because I say so much shit that's just off the wall, just trying to make the other person laugh. Like, and you know, I'm that person that the HR lady was talking about. Like, who thinks I'm a comedian, but I'm just saying shit just to pass the time at work because what else are we gonna fucking do except for rip on each other?
I agree.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to call your close friend a racial slur, even if it doesn't apply to them.
Right.
Just randomly.
Yeah.
And then they go, "What the fuck?" Like, it was funny. You
like
laughed.
we have this whole thing about calling Stitch a racist, like all the time. Like anything that's racist, we just like refer it to Stitch. Like, he's not racist. I know he's not racist, but it's fun to fucking tease him about it.
I agree.
Yeah.
And now I'm gonna call him a racist.
He's racist because he's part Asian.
He definitely looks like he's got some German genes in there.
He looks like he might have ties to Appalachia, for sure.
I don't know. I think he's got way too many teeth for that.
Yeah. Did you know that Stitch is Asian?
No.
Yeah. Like his... I want to say his grandma is Japanese.
Like his blood grandma?
Yeah.
Well...
Now, think about this. The way that he stands, the way that his face looks, if he had black hair and tied his hair into a top ponytail like that, he would look just like a fucking samurai. Dude, when I heard that his grandma was Japanese, I fucking face swapped him with a samurai, like a picture of an old samurai guy. Looked just like, it didn't even fucking change.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I was like, holy shit. And I like sent it to him. And he was like, who's this? And I was like, that's you.
That's you, dog.
He didn't even know that I had face swapped him with the samurai because it looked just like a fucking samurai guy.
That's dope. Put it into Photoshop, color in his mustache.
Yeah.
See, I was going to say, now knowing that his grandma was Japanese, that explains the really tiny penis thing.
That too. But I can't remember if it's his... I want to say it's his grandma. It might be his great-grandma, though, that's full-on Japanese.
Still, thinking about it now, I can't unsee it.
Yeah.
Especially the walk.
Yeah.
Way he walks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's Japanese sound. He's got his hands behind his back and, like, shuffling with his feet kind of sideways like he has to take a shit. The way he walks with that, like he doesn't have toes. Now, I can say all these things, and I have no problem saying these things on the podcast because these are all things that I have said to him to his face. Like,
well, and we've established he's not going to listen to it. You
Right.
have to pull up this clip and show it to him. Thanks for the support, Stitch.
yeah,
We should have Stitch come on.
we should. He's a funny guy.
He is a pretty funny guy.
Yeah.
I mean, we may have to put some ground rules in place for him. These are the things you can't say.
Yeah, these are the words. These are the slurs that you can't use.
There's really only a handful.
Yeah.
And we've done pretty well so far.
Yeah. So he always... I think the reason why we started calling him racist was like... You know, you're looking at your phone and you'll like see something funny and then like shows the other people that you're with, like whatever you're watching. Like his are always fucking racist jokes. And like chicks with fat asses.
That sounds about right.
And so it's one or the other. Like you'll see his, and then I was like, dude, you don't even have to show me. I already know what it is by your facial expression. It's either like if your eyes go big, then it's a fucking...
It's a booty.
And then like if you start smiling, it's something racist. You don't have to show me. I already know.
That's fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
He's quite a character.
He is.
Yeah. He's entertaining to be around.
He's a fun guy.
But there's one thing you can guarantee about Stitch.
He's going to have to take a shit.
Okay, there's two things. The other thing is, if he catches wind of a piece of gossip at work, he'll let you know about it.
Oh, yeah.
You don't even have to go try to find it. He'll let you know.
CNN 2.0.
I think he's a little more honest than CNN.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about that the other day because I was like, yeah, I think it'd be cool if Stitch came on and we kind of did a little, freestyle thing.
Yeah.
And then there was somebody else. Who was it? Oh, Stuart.
Yeah.
But our days off don't line up hardly at all with him, so that's probably never going to happen. But
Stewart or Schmeagel. Or Schmagel.
Schmackle?
Yeah. I think that Stitch has a lot of talking about like paranormal shit with him at work and stuff like that. He's got kind of a pretty good knowledge of this because he grew up in this area, like born and raised in Tooele, which is sad, but good job, Stitch.
Turned out better than expected. That's a win.
Yeah. No, Tooele's great. I actually love it out here. Well, Stansbury's great. But there's a lot of weird shit that he's talked about that, he's seen and heard about, and a lot of different places that I didn't even know about that were allegedly haunted locations around this area that he kind of has experienced or like heard stories about. So yeah, I think it would be a fun thing to have him on and talk about. We can just do like a fucking freestyle.
Shit, we could do 2.
Yeah.
Longer days now.
Yeah. Summertime.
And we could hear some of his racist jokes.
Now, I don't know if he's ever told a racist joke.
Or it just shows you racist
but
memes.
He just shows me racist. And the memes that he comes up with are fucking hilarious. Most of the time. Except for if they're about me, then I'm like, fuck you, man. Here's a fucking samurai.
Take this, Fukushima.
Yeah.
That's fucking funny.
No, yeah, we have like me, him, and Pat, like a thread that we just talk shit to each other about. Talk shit about each other on this like group chat.
I like it.
Just us 3, and then like who is like venture into like talking about people at work, just like random bullshit, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, can always count on Stitch to come with some fucking fire.
So there was a couple times, like a year ago, he was in the building for covering for somebody else and showing me all the memes, and it's like, dude, you just need to stay in this building because I need this right here. I need the laughter.
Yeah. That was like, that one group that you had created was like, I wanted to go full ham on that thing, but I was like, shit, I don't know, like half of these numbers. So it made me kind of nervous just to like go full bore because I didn't know who was all on there.
Well, and you gotta kind of know your audience too and what you're trying to throw out.
Yeah.
You know, you never know when some people are gonna get super butthurt.
Yeah.
And then every once in a while, somebody be like, "Oh, I was gonna make this meme about you." It's like, why didn't you?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not gonna get offended by it. It's supposed to be funny.
Yeah.
Just go savage. I don't care.
Yeah. And that was my trepidation with that, is because like I know you, I know like I don't know if Scott was in that. Yeah, Scott was in there, and then Yag and Sissy, but like then there was a bunch of numbers, and I was like, I don't know who this is, and I don't really know them personally, and I mean, I'm assuming that they're on this thing and they can take a joke, but like coming from somebody they don't even know, like it could seem harsh, or you know, and that's how I am in real life too. Like a lot of people at work see me as like quiet or like
the monster.
But I don't like to throw shit at people unless I know they can take it. Like, so I'll get to know them first and then start fucking
roasting.
Plus, I think it's funnier if you know something personal about them that you can roast them about.
Yeah, that's true. It's true. I always, well, not always. Once in a while, I get this thought in my head, and I go, you know, those roasts they do on Comedy Central. Like, I think that would be fun within the friend group, but then I go, no, because there's like 3 or 4 people that would just get ridiculously upset.
Yeah.
Even though they're jokes.
Yeah.
Versus me, I'm like, dude, just send it. If I don't go home crying, like, this wasn't worth it.
Yeah. No, I agree. Like, especially if it's like I said, like people that you know and work with every day, like as opposed to now I know the people that, like I know who the people are in your building. Like some of them I haven't really even talked to a lot. Like Ollie I've had conversations with here and there. And then what's that other kid? Lou. I've never even talked to him.
He's a good kid.
Seems like a good kid, and everybody talks about him like he's a pretty cool guy. I've just never had the opportunity to, you know, hang out or whatever. But I could see that, me just throwing some shit out there about somebody and him just be like these people that I don't know, just like, dude, who is this fucking asshole?
So speaking of racist coworkers, so when Travis was in the building, we would either make pedophile jokes to him or racist jokes to him.
Mm-hmm.
And I would take it just like one step further and make Nazi jokes to him. And then he would say something in German, and it's like, wait, are you actually German? Because that was spot on.
Yeah.
And since then, I kind of worry. Because he'll say like a full sentence in German.
Yeah.
I can't even say a full sentence in fucking Spanish. But he's got this shit down with the dialect and everything. And I'm like, yeah, you definitely seem like you sat around the campfire listening to Grandpa spin yarns about gassing Jews.
You were a little cold, so you were wearing a hoodie.
The fact that
you had to get a little closer to the fire that was burning. No, yeah, we have the same jokes that go on about this person also.
Dude, once in a while though, he would pop off with the odd pearl and just say something completely out of left field, and it, like, I would die laughing. Like, we were in the break room talking about like childhood crushes. Obviously I'm a little bit older than everybody else, so mine were different, and everybody else is saying these names, and I'm like, who the fuck is that? And so I turned to Travis, who's only a few years younger than me, and I was like, Travis, who was your childhood crush? Without even taking a breath, without skipping a beat, he went, Danny DeVito.
Almost like he didn't have to think about it.
Yeah.
No.
He's like, that's been in my bait crate since I was 5.
No, he is like, I try to get him involved in conversations, but he's so awkward and says weird shit that's just like, what? But I could see him as being like a funny person.
He can be.
Yeah. Right now it's mostly like getting him into a joke that he's unaware of.
What?
What? Which, like, utility and everybody's all in on it now, and so, like, when they come and help us, that they're all saying it, and then he's saying it also, and everybody's laughing.
Oh, I hear it on my side, too. When they come and help. What?
I tell you about the I'm Like a Bird.
No, like the song?
Yeah.
Uh-uh.
So, we were sitting there, and we were doffing, and Pat was like, oh, here comes the penguin. And he comes walking up, and I was like, penguin's like a bird, right? And he's like, yeah, it is like a bird. I was like, watch this. Go into the break room, and I was like, man, you guys remember fucking Nelly Furtado? She was like super hot. Nelly Furtado. And Pat's like, who? It's like, Nelly Furtado. She was a singer back in like the late 2000s. Travis pipes up, you know, I like a bird. Yes, that's the one. So he just like singing it like halfway through break. Fucking me and Pat are just dying, knowing that he doesn't know what the fuck is going on.
Have you seen her now?
Yeah.
She's thicker than a bowl of oatmeal.
Yeah.
She's fine.
She always was a pretty lady, and now she's she thick.
She thick.
Yeah. Which is, I'm not saying that's a bad thing at all. You know?
Same. So speaking of racist jokes and memes, what's your favorite racist joke?
I don't know. I can't think of any. I don't like think about jokes as in like a setup, like a standard joke. You know, you like tell a story and set it up and then tell the punchline. A lot of people will like memorize these jokes and tell jokes like that, and I can't remember any jokes like that. My mind doesn't work that. I'll say something racist that seems funny to me that I think that people are going to laugh at, but I don't know.
Yeah, so growing up, my grandpa would always tell me jokes. And oftentimes they were probably not age appropriate, but I always appreciated it. So the other day I was in the break room and I went to tell this joke, and somebody else beat me to the punchline. Fortunately, there's 2 punchlines. So, do you know what the worst part about being half black, half Jew is? So the first punchline that I got beat to was, you have to sit in the back of the oven. So everybody giggles, and I said, good try, but that's not true. The worst part is that when somebody's selling something, you don't know if you should Jew them down or steal it.
Both.
That's pretty racist.
Both. Pretty racist, pretty funny. So that's like what an example of what I'm talking about is like, so we're sitting in the break room the other day, and we're like getting ready to clock in and stuff, and Newland comes in.
Oh God!
And he's the specialist on A shift now.
Yeah, he's special, all right.
And he's like, "Hey, have you guys seen Brandon?" I'm like, "No, he just left here like 5 minutes ago. I don't know where he's at." He's like, "Oh yeah, I just got an alarm for the incinerators over temping." And so Pat like stands up and goes and walks out there to go help him. And I look over at Stitch, and he's just like beaming from ear to ear. And he's gonna say, I was like, You don't even have to say it, dude. I already know what you're thinking. He's like, what? And I was like, something along the lines of what a time it is to have the Jews in charge of the incinerator now these days. Something like that. Yeah.
It's like that time that engineer was on 11 while we were on 11. And the very Jewish engineer, he's talking about how his friend's dog bit him. And telling us about his friend's dog, and he walked away, and I was like, does anybody else find it a coincidence that the German Shepherd bit a Jew?
Was a German Shepherd. Please tell me it was German Shepherd.
No, it was.
See, like those things that are just inherently racist by nature, I think are hilarious. Like, just the coincidences of, like, stereotypes, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, they're stereotypes for a reason, but, like, when they propagate themselves into a situation where you're just, like, looking into it, trying not to fucking die laughing because it's such a racist joke.
Well, and I think that there's... character speaks a lot to it. Like, if you or I tell a joke about the Holocaust, obviously we don't mean it, you know, and we don't think, oh, it was a good thing or any terrible thing like that. Like, we acknowledge it was a very sad thing and it was terrible and it should have never happened. But enough time has passed, we can make some jokes about it and try to have a little bit of light. Otherwise, it's just doom and gloom. It's like 9/11 jokes now. It's okay to tell them.
It's like me telling a story about pissing all over myself. Like, yeah, that was a pretty embarrassing thing, but if it was anybody else, I would make fun of them. Why not make fun of myself for doing the same dumb shit?
And it's like if the joke had been told 5 minutes after the fact, it would have been embarrassing. But now it's some time has passed. You're like, no, that's fucking funny.
Yeah.
Piss was bouncing off my coat.
Oh no, I was
my pants.
Telling the kid that I was riding with jokes on the way back down to change my pants, like from Park City. So I mean, being able to laugh at yourself and laugh at now, not like trying to compare pissing your pants and fucking
the Holocaust
as the same thing at all, but like,
no, it's pretty similar.
Bad situations can be hilarious in hindsight.
It's true.
Yeah.
Plus, pissing your pants is always funny.
Yeah, especially if you have to go and talk to somebody with your piss pants intact, you know.
It's even funnier when it happens to somebody else.
Yeah. That would have been way more hilarious, but I don't know, I think it's more...
I think I would have waited. I would have let the car ride down from Park City be really silent for about 15 minutes and then just turn to the other guy and be like, do you smell piss?
Did you piss my pants? Oh, shit.
Oh, fuck.
No, yeah,
humor is it's like one of the most underrated things.
Yeah.
And I don't understand people who are serious or pissed off all the time. Like, dude, just laugh. Laugh at something.
Allow yourself to think that something is funny. Like, it's okay. You know, nobody's dying anymore.
Well,
from the joke that I'm telling right now, you know, I mean, there are certain jokes that get told about Yeg in certain situations that might be pretty fucking harsh. But
Yeg is like a great sport about it.
Yeah.
Because you can rip on Yeg as hard as you can, and he just laughs about it.
Yeah.
Because he's just a happy-go-lucky, always in a good mood guy. Like, he's just 99.5% of the time, he's just positive and happy, and he understands jokes are jokes. And if you could see some of the Instagram reels he sends me, you'd know it's okay to joke about Yeg.
I was like the fucking... I tell you about when I went into your building. It was a couple months ago. I went into the building to drop off the witness, and I came through the break room, and Yeg was in there, and he brought some like chocolates and candy and shit from Ukraine back from when he went on vacation or went back there. And he's like, "Oh, try these chocolates. They're Ukrainian." And I was like, "Shit, I better grab some before they're gone." And I grabbed them, and I was like, "The chocolate's not the country." Like, so I make sure that's clear. You know, me sincerely like catching myself like, "Oh fuck, that might be taken in the wrong way," but also like making a joke out of it in a way that's like a little bit racist, a little bit insensitive, but I didn't think he was going to take offense to it, like, which he didn't. He thought it was hilarious.
Oh yeah, no, I throw shade at Ukraine all the time, and he'll talk about like something that was shitty in Ukraine, like, oh, we didn't get this until this way later time or whatever, and I'd be like, yeah, man, that's what happens when you come from a third world country. And then he just gives me this stare like.
Anybody that is listening that doesn't know Yeg, he's a great guy, funny guy, Ukrainian.
He's the only funny guy from Ukraine.
Seems like he's a super serious guy, but he's not.
Yeah, that's just because he's on the spectrum, and his face reflects it.
Yeah.
He's going to be listening to this at work, and I'm going to walk past him. He's going to go, "Oh, real fucking funny."
That's fucking hilarious.
Hilarious.
No, he's a good guy. Who else can we talk shit to about that's going to be listening to this? I don't know who all.
I was going to say Scott, but he's not going to listen.
No. We can talk shit about him anyways.
Fucking vegan. See? We didn't even discuss that. It's so easy, like, to poke fun at Scott for being a vegan. I don't personally care. Like, if you're happy with your lifestyle and you're healthy, who am I to judge?
Yeah.
But when people just, like, raunch on him nonstop for being vegan, it's like, okay, there's plenty of other character defects you can go after.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of like I consider that like a twofer right there, because you're making fun of Scott and you're making fun of T at the same time, because I always say it like it's T saying it, like, fucking vegan, because he's fucking vegan.
It's true. That's the prism you put it through. Yeah. But I see people ripping on him for being vegan all the time.
Yeah.
But you can't help but hear it in T's voice.
Yeah.
It's true.
So, like, making fun of the way that T says it, and also making fun of Scott for being vegan, it's a twofer, dude.
It's a twofer.
All day long. Valid.
Scott's a fucking funny guy.
He is.
He just, like, does and says the most off-the-wall shit, just completely out of pocket, and it gets me fucking rolling, and it's like, in hindsight, I'm like, why am I laughing so hard at this? It's so stupid.
Yeah.
But then I go, yeah, it was funny. Who gives a shit?
Yeah. Subjective comedy, dude.
I still think of when I was editing that Benson Grist Mill video, and there's like a scene where we're in the in the room with the loom, and T's like, "Does anybody know who this guy is?" Pointing to a picture on the wall, and Scott goes up to it and he gets really close, like this. No idea.
Yeah, no idea.
And it was like a solid like 20 seconds. He just stared at it like quizzically, like, yeah, no idea.
Almost like he was lost for a minute. Yeah, I was talking to my sister-in-law yesterday. We went to my brother's house for like the Father's Day get-together thing. And she was like, "Yeah, we watched your ghost hunting video." And I was like, "Oh yeah, it's, amateurs."
Poor quality.
She's like, "It was freaking hilarious." Okay, good, you got it then.
Yeah. That was the goal.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, they enjoyed it. My sister-in-law and then her daughter and then her daughter's kids, they all watched it together. So they're all into like paranormal shit also.
Well, I hope the profanity wasn't a huge deal.
Oh, I think that they probably watch things that are a little bit worse than
Way
that.
worse. Yeah, that's fair.
So, yeah, we got a few people that watched it.
Yeah, it's a... That was kind of a hard thing, like, with all the cameras that we had and all the footage and everything else that went with it. It was like, comb through it all, and you go like, there's really not much interesting stuff to make a video out of. And it's like the only interesting stuff were kind of like the fun parts or the jokes or the little
Banter moments.
Yeah, the banter moments. And I wanted to put in more of like the history stuff that you did, but the quality was like, back in the day, this movie, and that's kind of how it sounded. So it was like, fuck, it's kind of useless footage. I can't do anything with it.
Yeah.
I can't clean up the audio at all.
Yeah.
So it's just like, I'm just going to take these clips that are there that are somewhat decent in terms of video or audio or both, and I'm just going to put them together, and I'm going to get what I'm going to get.
Yeah.
And when I did it, I was like, I know it's going to get better from here, and I want to be able to come back to this and say I still made a video out of it. I still followed through and finished it, even though I know the finished product is not amazing by any stretch, but it's still something I'm proud of.
Yeah.
But I want to see that progression.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's got to be a starting point for everything. Like,
oh, for sure.
And like, I watched the whole video through, and it wasn't hard to watch. I don't know if it's just because I was there and I know what's going on. It wasn't hard to watch. It wasn't hard to follow. And I've seen a lot of videos that are a lot worse on YouTube that, like, I can't even make it through now. Saying that as somebody that was there, I'm not, I don't know if it was because I was there that I know what's going on and, like, all the different references that I'm watching and knowing what's going on in the video. Like, is it because I was there, or is it, like, it seemed like it was pretty easy to follow, where there's, like I said, there's some videos that I've watched and can't even make it through because it's like, what the fuck is going on in this video? I don't,
Well, I think just in terms of that video, it's like enough of the comedy and the jokes and the banter and stuff was all kind of independent of what we were actually doing, and it was more in the moment stuff. Like, for example, the scene where I was like, that's where somebody's going to hit their head, and then 2 seconds later you bonk your head on it. Like, shit like that really made it funny and entertaining. And I went, that's what I want all my videos to be about. I don't want to do the same stupid fucking ghost show that everybody does where they make shit up and they over dramatize and all that. It's like a lot of these guys who make these shows, if they would cut out some of the over dramatic or blatant lies and then just add some personality into it, they'd be easier to watch.
Yeah. Personality in that, like, not the overreacting to, like, a scratch on the wall that they just heard, and now they're screaming because it's a ghost and they have to, like, catch that ghost on camera or whatever. It's like, no, you don't have to go over the top like that. Just, like, be yourself and
have fun with it.
Have fun with it. Talk about it. Make a joke about it. Whatever you feel like in the moment. Like, be real, and people are probably going to find that entertaining, just like, even more so than the over dramatization of, like, making a big deal out of fucking nothing.
Yeah, or the blatant horseshit of, oh, I'm possessed.
Yeah.
Which is super cringe. When you watch, and it's not just Ghost Adventures. I know I beat on those guys all the time, but, like, a lot of the other YouTube shows I see where they pull shit like that, or what's the one? The guy with the long blonde hair. You know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when he does his episode,
him and his dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes his brother or brother-in-law or whomever it is, and they're doing, like, the Benson Grist episode, and at the beginning of the episode when he's interviewing people, the one guy's like, there's the spirit of an old man here, and if he doesn't want you here, he will make you sick. And then later in the episode, that's exactly what happens. And you're like, get the fuck out of here.
I'm starting to feel sick.
I don't know, maybe my blood sugar's really low. I'm just,
Maybe you should have some saltwater taffy.
There's some in the schoolhouse.
Yeah, go in the schoolhouse, get some candy. Chill the fuck out, bro.
Fucking relax.
Yeah. No, yeah. There's one paranormal show that I actually tend to like find more believable. I can't remember what the name of it is. And it's like it was either 2 or 3 brothers, and they're older. They're like probably late 50s, maybe mid 50s. And they go specifically to people's houses that are having like activity that the people there are scared of.
Mm.
A lot of times they think it's like demonic activity inside the house. And they go there, and I think one of them is like a minister. One of the guys is a minister. But they genuinely seem like, when something happens, they genuinely seem like really scared, or like really like they want to investigate to find out what happened, and could it be something, try to debunk like what they just heard or saw or whatever. So they go through the steps of like trying to find out what it is, and one of the brothers is always just super scared, and that's where I think personality comes into it, because I'll watch them and I just like their personality, because one of them, the minister, isn't really afraid of anything. There's a few times where he's like, yeah, I'm starting to feel this really eerie feeling, and I don't think that I should be here, so I'm going to step outside for a few minutes, and, and that's believable. Like, he's getting creeped out in this house that he's heard all these weird stories about. But a lot of so they do find like evidence, and they'll show like videos of like shadows and shit moving through the house, and they are very believable. Like, the videos are, I can't remember the name of their show though. And so I think that's something that I really wish that more paranormal groups would be like lean towards, is like they're not over dramatic about anything. They're not, sometimes the one brother gets scared and he'll fucking run out of the house because he's just scared. Or he'll like call for his brother on the radio to come in there and
escort him.
Scared. Yeah. But it's super believable just because it's like, it seems like a genuine reaction to, something that they don't know what's going on. But see these other like YouTube people that just like hear something like a tap on the window or something, could be a drip of water, or like the wind blowing a piece of dust and hits the window, or whatever, and they make some huge deal about it, and it's like, just be real, man. Like,
just like apply some objectiveness to reality.
Right.
Like, that could have been anything.
Right.
Well, and that's where I think we agree, like, BuzzFeed Unsolved has the right formula.
Right.
And I think on any one of those shows, or whether it's a YouTube thing or an actual show or whatever, you have to have one person who is always fucking scared or is super jumpy, because it's almost comic relief when they flip out over nothing. And then everybody else is just like cool and collected, or, maybe takes a jab at that person for being a bitch. And that's funny.
Yeah.
Especially when you watch BuzzFeed and Shane's always ripping on the other dude because he's just like every little thing, and he's just wigging out.
Yeah.
And
when they do like in solo things, the one guy's like totally content just being there by himself in the dark, doesn't give a fucking no care in the world. Like,
and he's talking shit.
Yeah, talking shit, and then the other guy goes in there just terrified, almost shaking. That's a good dynamic. Like,
it's great.
Super fun to watch. We just have to find that person that's going to be super scared
all the time.
Yeah, all the time. which I thought would be Scott, but I think Scott just is dead inside. He doesn't-
It's because he doesn't eat any fucking meat.
Yeah.
He hasn't had cheese in like 5 years. No, that's not true.
Fucking vegan.
Fucking vegan. Yeah, I definitely think you need to have that dynamic, especially if you're doing a group setting, because it's like if you have 3 identical personalities and then one guy who's always terrified, it doesn't really wash out.
Yeah.
Like you kind of have to have like the scared person, the hardcore skeptic, the hardcore believer, the tough one, so on and so forth. Like just mix up the personalities a little bit to where you have a balance and it's not just an echo chamber of the same people. They just look different and they have different inflection. You know? It's not as funny that way.
Yeah, I think that we had a pretty rounded dynamic with T being super serious and then us being semi-serious and then also just like fucking talking shit half of the time.
Yeah, for me, like after we like cleared that one room that had the Morse code thing, I was like, I'm just gonna have fun with this because I sincerely don't think anything's gonna happen. I don't think we're gonna catch anything. It's just fun and games and jokes, and I think you were kind of on the same page. And then Scott, I think, was kind of being pulled in different directions, but he was like actively trying to be a good cameraman.
Yeah,
and I was like, that was really cool of him, because I look at some of the establishing shots and things like that, and I go, oh man, he was actually, like using
about it,
using his mind and putting it to work. Like, okay, this would make a good shot right here or whatever. So, and then having T being the kind of the super serious one and wanting to do it as like by the book as possible. It all did kind of balance out.
Yeah.
And I'm definitely looking forward to trying it again here soon.
Yeah. And whereas we were like, yeah, I wanted to catch something, but at the same time, I didn't think that we were going to. And the little things that did happen did catch me off guard. And, like, you can see it on the video how, like, and you can't hear it. That's what, like, it's really weird because, like, when we were there, I definitely heard it say Alice.
Same.
And when you listen to the audio on the video, it's just like,
yeah.
And it's like, could I have misheard that? Like, little blip in the fucking scan, and my mind just turned it into Alice? Maybe, but, like, I definitely remember it being a voice and it saying Alice.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see on my face in the video where I'm just like,
yeah, there's a little spark there,
smiling in disbelief, like, I hope I didn't just hear, or did I really just hear what I thought I heard? But yeah, it was fun.
It was, and I'm looking into other ways to really kind of up the game, not just in terms of more quality audio and video, but in terms of some other, I'll call it ghost hunting equipment, which a lot of it is such horseshit. But it's like, you still kind of have to use it to be able to disprove it, kind of thing. And so some of it I go, yeah, I could see myself using this equipment for a while and going, okay, nothing ever happens with any of this shit. I'm not using it anymore.
Yeah. Well, I think it's hard because you're using equipment to test theories on what will supposed, like, paranormal activity can manipulate. So, like, EMF detectors. I mean, it's not proven that ghosts can manipulate any kind of electromagnetic field. It's speculation that ghosts and spirits can, that's how they operate.
Yeah.
But it's like using these tools that measure fields that could possibly be manipulated by something otherworldly, but you don't know for sure. Like, that's really what's going on. Could be just the fucking magnetic waves of the natural magnetic waves of the Earth just kind of sweeping through an area, kind of like the Aurora Borealis sweeping through here last month or whatever, being visible down here, which is super uncommon, but happens.
Yeah, and that's where I kind of like the approach that we took with it, where something happened and it wasn't like, let's hyper focus on it. Like, let's find a solution. What could have caused that?
Yeah.
You know, like that little piece of wood on that table. Oh, okay, this is what it was.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just saying what it was. There's proven repeatability.
Yeah.
Like, see, made this sound.
Yeah.
Or the same with the Morse code thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, you heard a blip. Oh, this one's active, this one's not, kind of thing. So taking that realistic approach, it's not even scientific. It's just, let's use Occam's razor. You know, the simplest solution is oftentimes the actual solution.
Yeah.
So just applying that little bit of logic to solving that issue instead of just going, nope, it was a ghost. Had to be a ghost. No other explanation.
Right. And I think that's where, like, people that hunt for paranormal things get almost like a bad rap, is because there are so many people out there that just fucking want to create content that to get the most views, like you clickbait, like,
yeah,
get a good thumbnail of the most haunted place in America, look what we caught, and it's like, you didn't catch fucking anything. Sounds like a raccoon fucking in the bushes.
Or it could be a random asshole owl flying around screeching.
Yeah, there's that possibility too, that especially out there, like, fucking getting swooped on by an owl is a real fucking possibility. Like, real possibility.
Well, and that one just kept flying to the light post until you look at him, and then he'd screech and fuck off.
Yeah.
And then you'd look back, and he's back on it.
Yeah. Well, even when you guys were doing the lightsaber duel, he was flying around in between where you guys were at and the pavilion that was right there. He swooped around right there a couple times while you guys were dueling.
When we were beating the shit out of each other's fucking fingers.
Yeah. When you guys were hitting each other with plastic swords that light up. Which was just fun, dude.
Don't hurt me.
It was fun to watch you guys do it. I don't want to get hit by one of those things, but
It smarts.
Yeah.
I only got hit, like, in the finger, and then I got whacked in the head one time, and I was like, yeah, that's not fun.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to whack him, not the other way around.
Yeah.
I got seniority.
Well, I've seen Scott's twizzle stick abilities, and he's quite capable with a sword-like object.
He is, but he would just, like, flail so fast. It was like, I don't want to get close. He's going to hit me in a sensitive area or something.
Yeah.
I don't want that. This is supposed to be for funsies.
Yeah. Plus, he's a pretty nimble vegan. So, yeah, I didn't want any part of that.
Yeah, I mean, because he's a vegan, you only got to wait a couple minutes. He'll burn out.
Yeah.
Not enough protein.
Tired out.
Yeah.
Real quick.
Broccoli only gives you so much strength.
It's funny because I think it's great. He wants to be vegan. He wants to eat vegan. That's awesome, dude. Go for it. But, like, the only thing I've ever seen him eat at work is potato chips.
Fucking barbecue chips.
Yeah, barbecue potato chips.
I actually felt bad because this past Friday was his birthday. And Thursday I was going to get up early and stop at the store, and I was going to grab him, like, 2 big family size bags of barbecue chips and give them to him. And I got up a little late, and I was groggy, and I was like, fuck that.
Happy birthday, Scott.
Happy birthday, Scott. Fucking old bastard.
What is he, like?
29.
29?
Yeah. He's almost exactly 10 years younger than me.
Let's see. So yeah, I could have been his papa.
Pretty close.
I was already jerking off at that time. Well into my jerk off years. Seasoned vet. My hands were already calloused from the toils of masturbation.
It's pretty bad when your hand is ribbed for her pleasure.
I can attest to that.
My hand was ribbed for my pleasure.
I'm selfish. When the condom says rib for her pleasure, I turn it
Turn
inside
it
out.
inside out. Yeah.
This is about me.
Yeah. I kind of need the opposite effect. Like, yeah, I'm gonna come either way. Whatever I can do to help you
In that time.
in that allotted time frame that I've so masterfully beat myself into.
So
You got a good minute and a half if you're lucky.
that's without clenching.
Without, yeah, not edging. I don't practice weird shit. I'm not into that.
Must be a vegan thing.
Self-deprivation.
See, you were born in 1980, right?
Yep.
So yeah, you'd have been 15 when he was born. Yeah, could have been
Yeah.
fully fertile.
Yeah. At that point, I had a whole masturbatorium. Like,
Masturbatory bait crate was full.
yeah.
I'm gonna make sure to let him know that you could have been his papa, and you very well could be.
Yeah. I mean, no, I don't know whose mom is. I haven't met her again, so.
Once in a while, I throw a joke at him. I'm like, you know, I could start dating your mom. I could be your stepdad. You better watch it. He's like, she needs a good man in her life. I'm like, fuck, don't turn that around.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be mine.
Wasn't Stevie trying to, like, talking about that too? Being his dad?
That's assuming Stevie likes women.
Well, it's a big assumption, but
No, that joke was going around for a minute.
yeah,
Yeah, that's fucking funny.
that he was going to start dating his mom.
Yeah.
Wonder if she's vegan.
I doubt it. She could be. I don't know. I did tell him that joke you said when we were talking about the vegan hot dogs, and you're like, isn't that just a carrot? And he's like, that's fucking good. You pulled out your phone. I was like, oh my god, did you get a telemarketer
Well, I got
call?
yeah, I mean, I had a missed call like 20 minutes ago, but I didn't ever feel it ring in
Damn.
my pocket. I've been getting less and less, so maybe they're listening to the podcast. Or maybe they're fucking passing the word. This fucking guy is just wasting our time.
Yeah, all fucking
Fucking idiot.
idiot. Chris from United Healthcare is like, don't call that number. He's a prick.
This guy is a fucking asshole.
He says he's 82. I don't believe it.
Don't believe a word he is saying.
You know what's funny? Thinking about that, especially in terms of like talking about racist jokes, it seems unanimous that it's okay to joke about telemarketers always being Middle Eastern.
Yeah.
I think we can all agree that that's funny.
Well, yeah, I mean, the stereotype is well, even like so many of those jobs are being outsourced to those call centers anyways, that like some of them may be legit and some of them may be, most of them are fucking scam calls.
Yeah.
Some of them might be legit, like I know that they outsource to, a lot of companies outsource to India call centers just because they have the setup there, you know.
Yeah.
But the stereotypes are fucking so strong that like just like a Quickie Mart stereotype of like the Indian person working in the convenience store that seems to be super true.
That's become super true for me.
Mm-hmm.
It's all throughout my life. Like, the amount of times I saw like a Middle Eastern person working, you know, at a 7-Eleven or whatever was actually kind of sparse. It was not very often. And if you saw one, it was usually a male, and he was like cultured American, and like probably born here, that sort of thing. But now there's a 7-Eleven right down the street from my house, and then there's one right down the road from that, and right by the freeway. And they're both, everybody who works there is Middle Eastern,
Mhm.
and they're like clearly from their home country because their English is pretty sparse, and they're all nice people. They're all very kind, and hello, how are you, have a good day, that sort of thing.
Right.
But it's like, seems like every 7-Eleven I stop at now, it's all Middle Eastern people.
Yeah.
And hey, great on them,
Yeah, because most 7-Elevens are franchises, and it's like, if they're the people that own them, good for them, man. They
Exactly.
came here, found an opportunity, fucking bought into it. Great, but I'm going to make fun of the stereotype for sure, just because
For
it's
sure.
funny.
But it definitely finally makes The Simpsons accurate on that prediction.
Yeah. Which is, I mean, like, so in Florida, we lived in Florida, it was, I knew the stereotype, what it was talking about, because back then, in those days, Florida was really diverse anyways, but that was the stereotype, and that was the truth, because it was any gas station you went to anywhere there was like a guy with a turban, literal, like wearing a turban, like India or Punjab or whatever they're called, guy there. And so, watching The Simpsons, I always thought it was funny just because that's really what it was like down there.
Yeah.
And then I think is like these Midwestern states, like you'd go to California and you'd see it a lot of times there. Now it's like Asians.
Yeah, so when I was growing up in California, it was like they were usually either Filipino or Korean.
Yeah.
And they were just hateful people. So you rarely...
You buy now!
You leave backpack outside! And you're like, alright, dude, I just wanted a fucking Sprite.
Yeah. But also, I don't blame them because I used to fucking shoplift like that in all those stores when I was a kid.
I remember, one time I got... when 20-ounce soda bottles under the cap, they would tell you if you won a free drink or whatever. And I took one of those caps in to a little convenience store on my way to school, and I grabbed a Sprite and I took it up there and I gave them the cap. We don't take these. What do you mean you don't take them? No, we don't take these no more. I'm taking this soda and I'm leaving you the cap. And I was like 11 or 12 at the time. No, you don't do that. Yeah, I do that. And I dropped the cap and I walked out. And I was like, are they going to start chasing me? 'Cause
Watching
I'll
for the
run.
police.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember ever having the balls to go back in there to get a free soda. But around that same time, so there was a Conoco station on my way home from, that was when I was in like junior high school. And I'd walk home from school and there was a Conoco on the way, like halfway in between my house and the school. But at the time, they had like, if you got a refill, it was like 10 cents for a refill any size. You just take a cup in there and get a refill. And so like I was ghetto enough that I would keep a cup in my bag. And so on my way home, I would stop there like every day and get a 10-cent refill. And it was like a 40-ounce drink, Coke or Sprite or whatever. So I never bought like the bottled sodas just because it was way cheaper to buy a 10-cent fucking 40-ounce drink, fountain drink, whatever. But I do remember those, but I'd get one or two here and there, the free sodas, but I never had the balls to go in there and like redeem it.
I don't know what the big deal is. Like, I looked it up one time years ago because I had always been curious about it, and some places had trouble redeeming those caps to get their money back from PepsiCo.
Yeah.
But then a lot of places didn't because they would actually track their inventory. And I think it was really more because of the companies that were getting free inventory from other sources that they weren't tracking those caps correctly to be able to get their money back on them.
Yeah.
So it's it's kind of like they had to give you a 20-ounce bottle that they stole from somebody else, and they didn't want to do that.
Right.
Because they could make $2 on it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I get that. Like, especially if it's a franchise system and you're just buying from a supplier, and like, are they going to uphold their end of the deal on a, it's $2, or back then I think those were like $1.25 or something like that. Yeah. Maybe $1.
It was more of like a mom and pop place too.
Yeah, so how many of those do they get in a day, and like how much money are they going to be out hoping that they're going to get repaid? So
well, the other part is where are they getting their wholesale from?
Right.
And a lot of these places they were outsourcing to get like damaged boxes, like ding and dent stuff, like NPS style.
Right.
And they were getting them on the super cheap, so they weren't paying the actual wholesaler to get their supply and then getting a proper reimbursement from them.
Yeah.
So the whole system was kind of fucked up, which is why they ended up doing away with it. Because either PepsiCo was taking a loss because they had to give away so many free sodas, or the owner of whoever was selling it, the proprietor, wasn't getting reimbursed for the free ones that they had to give away.
Yeah. Either way, it was a successful campaign because now I'm addicted to soda, so good job.
And I still look under the cap like, oh shit, it's just a serial number. Lame.
Yeah, they need to start doing some more fucking cool shit. Giveaways. They make enough money, dude.
I think a lot of these huge franchises need to go back to that stuff.
Yeah.
Like McDonald's Monopoly, only not let it get rigged.
Yeah.
Did you ever watch that, McMillions?
So I didn't watch the movie or documentary about it. I've watched like clips talking about it and like people talking about it on podcasts, how it was rigged.
Oh, that whole thing was so fucked up.
Yeah.
And it wasn't McDonald's fault, strangely. But it's like they try to bring it back and nobody really cared because they had heard about it, being rigged and all these people taking advantage of it. The people didn't want to bother with it anymore.
Yeah.
And that's been a few years now. I'm like, it's a good time to bring it back. Only actually pay out.
Actually pay out. So I did get there was a few times where I'd get like a free Big Mac or free fries or whatever, and I'd go back and get those.
Yeah.
When I'd get them. So I used to have a Jeep Cherokee, and when I'd go there, I'd peel them off, and I had like a console, and I'd put all the little game pieces in there. And then when I sold that Jeep Cherokee probably 6-7 years ago. And I was like cleaning it out, getting ready for it to be sold or whatever, and I opened up that thing and found like all these game pieces from the old Monopoly McMillions or whatever it was. Of course, I never won anything like money or anything, but yeah, I collected those things and never expected to win any money, but
well, I've
hoped for it.
Yeah, the $1 million would have been dope.
Yeah,
but the way the way it worked was the guy who worked for the security company for the place that made all the game pieces, he was the one smuggling out the winning pieces. And he was giving them to this mobster, and this mobster would disperse them to these people, given the fact that they would pay him like $100,000 or something like that, not telling them, don't forget you have to pay taxes on this money. So they were going negative from winning $1 million. Mm-hmm. And he would cut the security guy in on the profit. And so they would just pick all these random people that they knew through a person, most of the time who knew their reputation, like, we're going to break your fucking legs if you don't pay that $100,000. So like this one lady, she had to go like mortgage her house and do all these other things to make that $100,000 to give to him to get the pieces, collect the money, and then pay the taxes on top of that. And then when she got more money back, she had to give him more, because it was like he was basically charging half. Yeah. And then half goes to taxes because America.
At that point, you're broke.
Yeah, and then you're lucky if you broke even.
Yeah.
And now you're embroiled in like a Rico scam basically, which was super not worth it.
Yeah.
But if they made it to where actual normal people would win, I'd play.
Yeah. I mean, I rarely go to McDonald's, like, now, but if I got a free Big Mac, I'd probably go back more often.
Agreed.
Actually stopped at McDonald's on Thursday? Last Thursday, going to work. And, dude, that halfway through the day, I thought I was gonna fucking shit my pants, man. Holy. Because I haven't eaten McDonald's for a while. And, yeah, I really thought I was gonna poop in my pants. We're sitting there doffing, and I was like, dude, I hate to be that guy, but I gotta go take a shit. Like, for reals.
That's like a cardinal sin at work. If you have to poop while we're doffing.
Yep. Well, for some people.
The average person can get away with it once in a while.
Yeah.
There's other people who do it like it's a schedule.
Mostly because that's the reason why it is a fucking sin, is because those people that take advantage of those times.
It's true.
Yeah. And the way that we do it down there is like if we're doffing on our side, as soon as we start doffing, I'll grab the samples and run them, because we have to go all the way up there to take the witness.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm walking up there, it's like a mile round trip.
Pretty much.
To go from our building up there to your building and back. So it'll take me about 15-20 minutes to walk up there, drop off all the samples, the witness, and come back. So I'll leave like right when we start, and I'll come back when they're about at the split, about halfway through. And then Pat will leave to go do the paperwork and get everything done, so that as soon as DOF is done, then we can start breaks.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there's some people that just like will take their time and like show up like right at the last bank. Oh, you guys are all done. Oh, that was really good timing, man.
Yeah. It's almost like you waited out that door that has a window and just watched.
Yeah. Well, I had to get the change house, get new coveys, and I stopped and grabbed some ice cream on the way. It was hot outside.
I did the Maverick Mile.
Yeah.
Or the Hexel Mile.
Yeah, there are definitely people that take advantage of that situation where every once in a while is whatever, but like every time, come on, man.
Do you know anybody who's done the Hexel Mile?
Which one? The Miracle Mile?
Yeah.
From Maverick?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, for a reference point to anybody listening, we work at Hexel, and there's a Maverick, a convenience store about a mile away. And there used to be a thing where you would leave on your break and go to Maverick, and you'd get a 6-pack, and you had to drink all of them on that 1 mile back. Which is magical in my book. To pound 6 beers in less than fucking 6 minutes? That's talent.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody that has successfully done that, but like I know people that have tried. Not going to name any names, but yeah. Well, I've done the Miracle Mile on my way home. Like I'll stop at that Maverick over here, get 2 tall boys, and then kill them from there to here.
Yeah, but you're also talking about like what, 2 miles?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're not on working hours?
Yeah. And like I'll cut through the neighborhoods, and it's usually like early in the morning when there's hardly anybody out.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a challenge, dude, for sure. 2 tall boys in less than 10 minutes.
That's tough.
Yeah.
A tall carbonated beverage?
Yeah. It's like, what is this? So this Liquid Death is 19 ounces. I think the tall boys are 25.
Yeah, these are 24.
So yeah.
Basically 50 ounces of fluid. carbonated
fluid. Without throwing up all over your car while you're driving.
You just open the door when you get home and let out the biggest burp of your life.
Yeah. I've done that a time or two. Not all the time, but it's been done. Especially after those days that are like fucking fighting the line all day. Maybe you get like a 20-minute break to step inside to grab like a granola bar or something and
Yeah.
go back out.
If you're lucky.
Yeah. Sweating your fucking balls off 12 hours and then just like, I need a fucking beer. Cold beer.
Some days really warrant it.
Yeah.
And then on the days where it's not warranted, still do it anyway.
Yeah, it's still hot.
I still had to deal with people.
So we had like the last set of shifts, last from long change to long change. I think we started up one or the other line. It was like 6 times.
Oof.
In 14 sets of 14 shifts. We had to start up one or the other line, and either the other shift wrapped it up, shut it down, we'd come in, or it was like a turnaround.
Mm-hmm.
There was one that we shut it down, cleaned the whole line, and so we shut it down at like 2, had everything cleaned by the end of the shift, and but they wanted to replace the eyelets, the little brackets that the plastic eyelet sits in. They wanted to replace all those. They're like, yeah, I don't know when the eyelets are going to be here, so we show up the next day. Eyelets weren't there yet, so we got them a couple hours after that. So we spent that whole day changing out all the eyelets, and they wanted everything retaped on the bars.
Mm-hmm.
So we started doing that. We got all the eyelets changed, half of all the bars changed before the end of shift, and then the next shift came in, got the rest of it taped, started it up, wrapped it up, shut it down, so we came in and had to start it again.
Oh, dude.
Yeah. So it was like super busy. Then our last day was like, we had nothing going on. And so after all these super busy days, it was one chill day, but it seemed like it was like fucking 35-hour long shift because it was just like, after all those busy days and one slow day that's like, it was our Thursday or Friday, our last day, and so it just dragged on.
It's like those days when we come in and find out there's no DOF, and everybody's like, yeah, no DOF. And I'm like, fuck, that sucks.
Yeah.
Because it's, at least you have that one 45-minute event to look forward to.
That makes everything go by a little faster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's really about an hour, from the time you get it done and get everything cleaned up and put back together and all that. And plus you had that to look forward to, and then when it's done, you're like, cool. 7 more hours.
Time for a break, I guess. Oh yeah. That day we had 3 DOFs, so that kind of... It was like one right at the beginning, like right as we walked out it started, and then one at 5:20, and then the other one was at 6:05. It was like back to back. So that helped the last part of the day go by, but like...
It helps if you're the lead or the second. But when you're stuck back in the ovens during a day like that, it's like, oh, it's the day that never ends.
Yeah. Especially if there's really nothing going on. Like if there's like a wrap or something that happens, it at least cuts down about 20 minutes real fast.
Yeah.
Usually. If not the rest of the day.
All in all, it's still a really cush job.
Oh, yeah.
And I've kind of had this argument before of like, yeah, you bitch that it sucks here, but how many episodes of that show that you're watching did you get done today? Oh, 4? Cool.
Yeah.
find another job that lets you do that.
I've worked at a lot of different jobs that were a lot fucking worse than what we do, especially for the money. Like, I have no complaints.
I agree. I mean, the flip-flopping on the schedule can take a toll.
Yeah.
And it's, for me, it's usually like in spurts. Like, I'll have about 1 month out of the year where I'm having a hard time, like, readjusting back and forth.
Yeah.
And it's usually about the same time every year, about springtime, when we're changing seasons too. So it's kind of like almost timed in with that. But then other than that, the back and forth, I usually just like snap right to.
Yeah.
But I think maybe because I'm getting older, it's a little bit more difficult. But still.
Yeah, the only transition I have a hard time with is the weekend going into Hell Week.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the weekend I'm usually tired throughout the weekend, and then like that Monday is like brutal.
Yeah.
Every time. But for some reason it'll be like I'll sleep pretty good throughout the weekend. Like, I'll try to sleep, take a nap Friday day, wake up, go to bed like 10, 11. Saturday night I'll have no problem going to sleep, sleeping 8 hours, whatever. Sunday night I'll go to bed at like 9, wake up at like 1.
Yep.
Fuck!
Son of a bitch. I know it's lunchtime.
Yeah. So that's really the only hard transition I have nowadays. But usually it's like, okay, well, I'll go to the gym, come back, eat breakfast, pack up some food, get ready to go to work. Like, I know I'm going to suffer like the last 4 hours of the day, but whatever. I'll get through it.
Yeah. Reset your body clock Monday night, and then you're good.
Yeah.
For 2 weeks, basically.
Yeah.
So with that said, on easy jobs, I know we've kind of talked about it before. If you could just pick any job that would make you live comfortably, what would you do?
You mean like live comfortably money-wise?
Yeah.
I feel like the place that we work pays pretty good, has pretty good insurance, not a whole lot of physicality in it most of the time. So yeah, I think that where we work is pretty cush now. Like, if I had a choice of, I don't know how much money they make, but like a job that I would really be interested in doing would be like a park ranger.
Oh, that'd be a cool job.
Yeah.
Especially in Appalachia.
Yeah. Go through and see some wampus cats and some lamb squatch.
Sheep squatch?
Sheep squatch.
Maybe some other crazy cryptids that some dude's grandma made up.
No, yeah, like the park rangers in like Yellowstone or something. If you had the opportunity to be one of those guys, I think that'd be pretty fun.
That would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
You get that cool landscape, especially in a park where like you don't get any snow.
Yeah.
Because those winding roads, man, they could be treacherous during the snow or the ice.
Well, Yellowstone, we get a fucking shit ton of snow.
Then I'd want to be the plow driver.
We went up there in May. Was it May we went there the first?
Memorial, yeah.
Yeah, we went there in May of 2020.
I'm going to get pizza.
Nice. Yeah, it was like Memorial Day. It was right before like everybody got laid off, furloughed or whatever. And there was like half of the roads up there were closed because of the snow. And the first day we went there was actually it snowed overnight, so we stayed in Jackson Hole, and planned on just driving up to the park and going in and driving around all day or whatever. So it snowed overnight, and we drove up there. Just the road to get to the entrance of the park there was like 2 feet of snow on the roads, so it was closed. The park didn't even open that day. But yeah, they get a fucking shit ton of
That's
snow.
crazy in May.
Yeah.
Jeez.
And we stayed in a little cabin in a KOA about 30-40 miles outside of the park, and it snowed where we were at in Jackson Hole.
Mm-hmm.
But the closer we got to the park, it was just heavier and heavier snow. But I think their annual snowfall is like fucking 20 feet a year or something like that.
Jesus.
But maybe like Moab or something.
Yeah, Moab would be nice.
But then you got to sit in one of those guard shacks for half the day and fucking roast your balls off.
Yeah, that doesn't sound appetizing. So I took the boys to, what state park is it? So if you go to Lehigh and you make a left at the point of the mountain, you basically go down until you hit the mountain, then you make a left. And I can't remember the name of the park. Anyway, we went there at night. This was just last summer, and we were just like being adventurous. So I pulled off into this pullout, and you could see there was kind of a walking trail up the slope, and it's all rocks and dirt and shit. And we're like going up here, and it gets super dark at night, especially in the trees. So we had flashlights and stuff, and the reason I was thinking about this was cryptids, and I was like going balls deep into researching about the rake. Have you ever heard of that? Yeah, it totally made up. But all I could think of was while we were going through this like fucking zigzag bullshit of rocks, and it's hard to climb, and I was like, what if we get up here and there actually is a cryptid? And it's like, I've got my boys, and yeah, we should probably turn around.
Yeah. We're just getting eaten by the rake, dude. Because there's no way you're running back through there.
Me and Scott joke all the time about if we ever come across a rake. It's like, dude, it's not that scary as long as you stay away from its mouth and its fucking claws. Like, you're gonna be okay. And then we joke like, we're just gonna beat the shit out of it. I'm gonna get on its back and just start fucking hammer fisting the back of his head. Scott's gonna start kicking the shit out of it. Scientists are gonna be like, what is this? Well, it was a rake.
It was a rake.
They're supposed to be white, but this one's really black and blue. Don't know what happened.
Turns out it's just some fucking crackhead that was living up there trying to take a shit in the bushes.
He's like, y'all got any catalytic converters?
Did you ever see that video of that guy? And he's like filming from his house, and he's talking about this. It's supposed to be a rake, or like he doesn't know what it is, in his backyard. And so it's like his house, and then he's got like a sunroom in between him and like the back patio of his house.
And it keeps getting closer.
Yeah. And then he like calls his minister or whatever, and they're like speaking in tongues over the phone. He's like, "Shabalala." But yeah, there's like this figure that's crawling out of the woods that are like at the end of his backyard, and it's like, it looks like a gargoyle almost.
It's huge.
Yeah. And kind of like walking like a duck walk, like a squatted all the way down, but walking like creeping towards him, kind of on all fours almost. That was a pretty wild video. Again, it sounds like they were probably somewhere in the south. A lot of crackheads around those parts, you know.
That one was... I couldn't find any debunking factors, so I couldn't think of any, at least. And I watched that one, and you listen to the guy's voice. He sounds extremely genuine, and he's terrified.
Yeah.
and he's trying to keep the camera on it, so at least there's some kind of record, some kind of evidence where, like, rather to dispel somebody who doesn't believe him, or that there's a record of what happened to him should something happen to him. He's really focused on getting this done, instead of doing what most people would do, is just like run in and hide. This guy's like actively trying to seek a solution and still film at the same time. And this, what looks like a very large creature, is just like slowly lumbering toward his porch. And to me, I'm like, that's one of the few videos I've seen where I'm convinced it's real.
Yeah.
Without question.
Just the way that it was moving, like, I did the same thing, like watching the video, like I'm going through, that's just some crackhead. That's fucking some pervert peeping Tom trying to sneak up and look in the back windows of the house. Because there is a wooded area right there, so it's like, you know, you could creep through the woods and come up, but why would you not be wearing a shirt? And why would you, like, well, why would you be naked? I mean, I guess if you're a fucking creep like that, you might be naked, just because it gives you a thrill, but, like, the way that the person or the creature was moving, it didn't seem human or natural, or like...
Yeah, it was very unearthly.
Yeah.
Like, didn't have a fluidity,
Right.
like a bipedal creature would,
Mm-hmm.
in the way it kind of lumbered, and didn't seem to have a sense of balance and things like that. It was just very off-putting.
Yeah.
So it could have been totally fake, but I still buy it.
Yeah. That's one of those videos, like, when you talk about the rake, like, that's what always pops into my mind, is that video of, like, now that creature was a little bit bigger than I would imagine, where, like, the rake is described as being, like, a thin, like...
Yeah.
But
Almost
this,
anemic looking.
yeah. This thing was a little bit more hefty. But still, if I saw that in my backyard, one, I would probably fucking shoot it.
Yep.
No questions asked. I'd be like, hey, who's back there? Bang! And especially if you're like in the fucking woods like that, I'm sure that guy had a fucking firearm in his... But at the same time, I guess maybe like, what is it, and do you really want to shoot it and piss it off? Like,
there's definitely something to be said for thinking ahead. You don't want to shoot at it with, let's say, a hunting rifle that only has one round in it. You want to have some kind of backup, because I always assume, especially with cryptids like Bigfoot or something like that, that because of their mass and their size, that they're going to be largely bulletproof. And I think that's just like my crazy mind from hearing the stories I've heard for years and years about different cryptids, that people have opened fire on them and nothing happened.
mm-hmm.
But that's kind of where you go, well, if you're going to send the wife to get your rifle, tell her to bring your shotgun and your pistol.
Yeah.
So at least you can dump like 40 rounds into it.
Get all the guns that we have.
Put all the magazines in.
And wake up the kids, because we're all going to fucking line up and dump on this fucker.
Mag dump!
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, even if you, like... I've been hunting before, and, like, I've killed deer, and I've, you know, been in hunting parties where people shoot elk or, you know, bigger game like that, bear. And even those things, like, you shoot them with a fucking 30-06 or 7 mag, and they just fucking take off running.
Yeah.
And they'll run for 500 yards with a big hole in their fucking heart or lungs and keep going full speed until they just drop. I couldn't even imagine a fucking... If there was a Sasquatch and you hit him with a, you know, a gun like that, yeah, they're probably gonna... Even if it does, like, you hit them, they're probably gonna be able to fucking keep moving for quite a while, if not survive it. We went elk hunting one time, and my dad's buddy shot an elk, and there was clearly bullet wounds that had healed over on this elk that, like, he'd been shot before.
It's like the
didn't die.
50 Cent of elks.
Yeah.
I've been shot 9 times, motherfucker.
Yeah. So these animals are a lot more hardy than people that don't go hunting think about. You just go out and shoot an animal and it dies, and it's like that's not the case. Like you shoot them, if you don't hit them in one of their vitals, you're tracking that animal for miles.
Yeah.
To try to find where they are bedded down to get another good shot on them, or even if you do get a good shot on them, they'll still run and hide, and then possibility of you don't find them because they just disappear.
Well, I mean, the same can be said for humans. Many people have been shot and lived through it, and are perfectly fine because of the way bullets actually work. Like, especially if it's a through and through and you just get shot in the meat and it goes right through, it'll heal over. You'll bleed a lot, it'll hurt, you'll have a permanent ache, but you'll be fine. But some of these animals, especially large animals like elk that are just solid fucking muscle, they have the ability to push past it.
Yeah.
And oftentimes their body is almost designed to kick out foreign objects. So it's not uncommon to find animal scat that has bullet pieces in it because it's gone through their system.
Yeah.
So it's a crazy thing. But even in the terms of, shooting a Bigfoot and some of the stories that you hear over time where, I pulled out my gun and I shot at it and nothing happened. Probably would have been better just shooting yourself.
Yeah. Present yourself as a meal.
It's like that Ron White bit when he's talking about his friend or his cousin or something is like an avid bear hunter and he wants to hunt big grizzlies, the big 800-pound fucking grizzlies, and he's talking about, I carry this .44 Magnum on me to defend myself in case I don't take him down with my rifle. And Ron White's like, make sure you file down the front sight so you don't chip your teeth when you put that gun in your mouth.
Yeah. Bears are fucking scary, dude.
They are. And so I have a KSG shotgun, and so the 2 tubes hold 7, plus I could put one in the pipe, so for a total of 15. Now, if I was going to shoot at a Bigfoot, a Gigantopithecus, whatever you want to call it, I would put double-aught buck in both tubes, and I wouldn't stop until I was empty. Because I think that's the only thing that's actually going to put a dent in him.
Yeah. And you're going to have to be close.
Yeah, like within the room distance.
Yeah. Because, you see people that get shot in, like, drive-bys from shotguns that are from the street to the house, and they get peppered with the fucking... it's usually, like... Birdshot. And so it's not, like, buckshot is... It's going to do a lot more damage, but, like... Still, you're going to have to be close enough that that's going to penetrate and make a big enough hole to slow this fucking thing down. And I really question the, animals like that, what their pain receptors are like, because of the way that they live in the mountains, and they go up and down these mountains that, if I was going to hike this mountain, it would take me probably 4 hours to hike a mountain, whatever, to get to the top. And that's me, almost dying at the top when I get there. But you see these animals do it in fucking 5-10 minutes. They're at the bottom and they're at the top, going full speed. And it doesn't faze them at all. But they also do that in the wintertime, so they're walking through streams and then going through 4 feet of snow, wet, and it doesn't bother them at all. So what are their pain receptors really like? I know they feel pain.
Yeah.
But them getting shot and just turning around and taking off running, I'm sure that's a pain response, but at the same time, do they keep feeling that, or okay, well, that's over with?
No, that's an interesting question, especially talking about that elk that had multiple bullet wounds. And it kind of makes you wonder how much of it was how much of that impact is absorbed by the muscle and how much actually went into the vitals, or was it a glance? Did the bullets fall? There's a lot of questions that go into that, but still, this animal has been shot multiple times, and it's still fine.
Yeah.
It's still moving. I'm sure there is a certain amount of pain, but I think the difference is mentality, because I do believe that creatures who live out in the wild, they live in survival mode. They don't
All
live
the
in
time,
comfort
yeah.
mode like we do.
Yeah.
Where, like, if you and I go on a hike and I snag a piece of my skin on a branch and I get a little cut, I'm going to pussy ache about it.
Ow!
Oh, fuck!
We gotta turn back!
I need some Neosporin, like, now. Versus, an animal who goes through a thorn bush and gets cut like 10 times is just like, I'm good.
Yeah.
That tickled. Furthermore, if I was going to shoot a very large bipedal animal, I would not aim for the head or the chest. I'd just go for the hips.
Yeah.
Destroy the mobility.
Yeah.
Because that's also where your muscle and your skin is the softest, is around your hips. And if you take out a hip bone on a bipedal animal, they're not walking. They're
Yeah.
surely not running.
I think that if I came across a Sasquatch and I had like a shotgun, I'd probably aim for the thigh.
Yeah. Get that femoral.
Bang, 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 real quick, and try to just take as much meat off of that one thigh as I could, just to like slow it down enough for me to run away from it. Yeah, I think that looking at pictures and how big they are, how much mass they have on their upper chest and stuff like that, like
Bullets aren't getting through that.
yeah,
Maybe if you had a minigun,
maybe.
but I'm not willing to try it.
Yeah, I don't really want to carry that thing through the woods either. Like fucking Jesse
Ventura.
Ventura.
Payback time. Have you listened to any of his interviews now?
I've seen clips of him talking about like different shit.
He's kind of unhinged.
Yeah.
I live in the Baja. Like, oh god, he's a fucking character.
Interesting character. It's like a cross between like what's that one fucking guy that was Alex Jones?
Oh god.
Some fucking version of Alex Jones. Just unhinged.
I think there's one thing to understanding when a conspiracy is afoot and investigate that. It's another thing when every fucking thing is a conspiracy.
Yeah.
And I don't think anybody's stupid enough to go, none of it's ever a conspiracy. I think most of us go, nah, pick and choose your battles, but a lot of it's horseshit.
Mm-hmm.
But a person like Alex Jones, where it's like every little thing is this big mass conspiracy under whatever banner you want to put it under, and he beats it to death, and he's so animated and so ridiculous. He's like Rush Limbaugh,
Yeah.
just way over the top all the time. And you lose a lot of credibility from that, because there's a lot of shit that Alex Jones has said that I agree with, and a lot that has made me have more questions. But if I have trouble watching you for longer than 10 minutes, maybe change your approach.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely a way that you can like present your ideas in a way that's not going to make you seem like a fucking crazy person, 100% crazy person. Even just like proposing the question and letting, other people or the people that are listening hunt down the answer for themselves.
For sure.
Instead of like hammering through this, conspiracy theories and proposing all these seemingly wild ideas, even though they might be true or have some truth to them, like connecting all the dots into the all the craziness in politics and like cover-ups and everything. Like, I think most of that stuff is not connected in all the ways that he tries to propose they are, but they're all like questionable for sure.
Sure, but logically, there's a difference between connecting dots to come to a conclusion versus connecting dots to connect to an already preconceived conclusion.
Yeah.
It's like making details fit your narrative versus discovering the narrative through details.
Exactly.
And Alex Jones is just not aware of that. And I think a lot of conspiracy theorists are that way. And that's where, I kind of like when we talk about those things, because it is objective, and then when we talk about something subjective, we make it known, like, this is just how I feel about it. I have no merit or basis.
Yeah.
But the idea that you can talk about a conspiracy or something you think is a conspiracy just as an open-minded conversation of what about this or what about this or adding this factor into it, things will add up and things will work together.
Yeah.
Versus just going, 9/11 is a conspiracy because I fucking hate George Bush. Now let me tell you why.
Yeah.
That's not how that works.
Yeah. I agree. And that's one of the reasons why I really like doing these episodes is like the possibility of having your mind changed, or like seeing something that you've been looking at, especially if you're doing research for a certain thing, and then like you come up with a different idea about something, and it's like, oh shit, I never really thought of it in that vein. Like, that's an interesting perspective, and a new way to look at something that I probably wouldn't have come up on my own, because I'm already traveling in this one vein of thought, you know, to a certain conclusion or supposed conclusion or hypothesis, wherever it's leading to.
And I do the same thing when you bring stuff up, and I'm like, shit, I never thought of it that way.
Yeah.
Or I feel like we run into the same issue where it's like you've found a piece of information that I didn't come across, or vice versa, and then that helps like kind of retrain your thought. It's like, okay, maybe it's not directly on this lane that I was thinking of. Maybe it's slightly perpendicular to that.
Yeah.
And I think those are constructive conversations. It's hard to have a conversation with anybody who has their mind made up and will not bend or change on anything.
Yeah.
It's fucking painful, to be honest.
Yeah, I kind of like talking to people like that, just to kind of come at them from different angles, just like we're talking about, like, think around their idea and think of ways to kind of penetrate their idea, just to kind of open up that gap of like, okay, your solid belief is this way, but what about this? Have you ever thought about this possibility of, and sometimes you'll get those people to kind of like
Bend a little,
open their mind a little bit, just to think about things in a different light. A lot of the times it's just like fun to poke at them.
Yeah, no, I definitely get that aspect. I just have the hardest time talking to anybody who can't express what they're saying as a fact or differentiate it from a feeling.
Yeah.
And that's the worst thing, because it's like, especially with politics, is the worst, because people will jump on one side of the aisle or the other and then just completely trash the other side without just understanding like justifiable reason. Like, if you hate Trump, express why you hate Trump. Okay, he says dumb shit. Cool. I can live with that, because that's true. That's a fact.
Mm-hmm.
But if you go, oh, I hate Trump because he's a racist, because he's misogynistic, because all these, okay, why is he those things? Because he is. No, like, give me an example. No, it's because he is. That's your feeling then.
Yeah.
If you can't justify it with logic or fact, then it's a feeling. And if you can't differentiate within your own mind the difference between a feeling and a fact, you have a problem. And we don't have a conversation, because I don't want to talk to you.
Yeah.
And I know in some way that kind of makes me just a little petty, but it's like, I don't want to have conversations that go nowhere. I want to actually like expound on things and learn to understand each other. That's the whole reason you have conversations.
Right.
But some people just don't get it.
Well, yeah, I think the conversation is supposed to be like you, however many people are in the conversation, are saying things, the other people are taking them in, thinking about them, and then putting out their thoughts about those, whatever somebody has said, like, as opposed to somebody like you're describing, where they're just hitting those talking points and you're not having a conversation, you're just listening to them spout off of things that they've heard or the way that they feel, and they're not really listening to anything that you're saying, or like, well, it's not really a conversation, it's just like venting almost.
Yeah.
Which is like, you know, if you want to have a rant session, that's cool every once in a while.
Start a podcast.
But, like, but if you want to have a conversation, let's have a conversation. And open your mind to possibilities of that, like, both sides are being played. And that's part of the problem. Like,
So I've determined in my own life there's 3 types of people to have a conversation with. One is the people who don't want to listen, they only want to be heard. 2 is the people who only listen to reply. It's only a reactionary thing.
mm-hmm.
And then 3 are the people who listen and comprehend and reply accordingly. Where you and I have that rapport, where I listen to you and that, what you say could change my mind. And I'll reply based on what you said when it's my turn to talk, and vice versa. And then you have conversation with people who, they're not really listening to you, they're just waiting for their turn to talk.
Yeah.
And then people who just want to talk and don't give a shit what you have to say. And I'm kind of like, column A and B can go somewhere else. Like, I mentally, I'm not in that mind space to entertain it anymore. You know what I mean? So that's why I like having these conversations between us, where even if you and I have a different point of view, we listen and understand and comprehend. And I think that's lacking in a lot of people these days.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And
so anyway, no, sorry.
I agree with you, and I kind of have felt like this for a long time. Like, I think that the rise of like social media has kind of perpetuated that just response type of interacting with people, because you can do it on Facebook. You can just interject your thoughts on something and not really have to listen to what they have to say after.
Yeah.
And you can say the most outlandish things without worrying about repercussions or like hurting somebody's feelings, because it's online, so you don't know this person and you're just like almost being a troll, but like but people are getting so used to that interaction on social media, the faceless interaction of just replying, and not really ever adding to the thought process in the conversation, but just like reacting to something that somebody else has already said. And how much of that spills over, you know, if you're doing that all the time online, I think that it kind of just translates into the way that you interact with people on a daily basis, where you're just like, kind of like you're talking about an NPC, and then you hear something that catches your attention, and you just like, they just like reply with something, and then keep going about their NPC life, whatever.
Your preconceived dialogue.
Yeah, right.
No, and I agree, and I like the word you use, faceless, because it's like, if I post something on social media and somebody wants to throw some hate or some shade at me or whatever, I go, that person doesn't, I don't even know if that's an actual person. That could be a bot. I don't care. You take your opinion, you can do it, whatever. I don't care. It doesn't affect me. But we tend to treat other humans with that same interaction. I mean, back in the day, I got countless fucking Facebook arguments with people about the stupidest shit possible. Now I look back at it and I go, that was dumb.
Yeah.
And even in the now where I'm at in life, and I see something on social media and it kind of triggers me in a negative way, I have to tell myself there's literally no point in responding to it or feeding into it. Case in point, this fucking lady on TikTok said some fucked up shit. She was like, this is just my opinion, but I don't think fathers deserve to have Father's Day. They should not have a day for themselves. They don't deserve it, and I'm not going to explain why. Bye. And she posted it on Father's Day, and I'm a father, and I went, that's fucking terrible. And my first instinct was to comment and be like, you're a cunt. But then I went, it's not worth it. Like, what's that going to solve if I comment on there?
Yeah.
She's probably just going to make another video to say she's getting all this hate from men in her comments and just give her more views and more clicks. And I went, nope, skip.
Yeah.
Scroll past it. Guess what? That's exactly what happened. So I'm not going to feed into it. I'm not going to give her ego that validation she wants. It's like, if that person wanted to have a genuine conversation about her feelings, I would have listened. I would have tried to understand. Even if I don't agree with it fundamentally, I'm still curious of like why she has that position.
Yeah.
But she didn't want to expound on it. That just means she's being a cunt. She wants that attention. She wants validation. Not going to get it from me.
Yeah, it's hard to decipher too. People like, especially TikTok or like YouTube, stuff like that, where people are getting paid for views now and like trying to gain following. Whether you get 1 million views that they all hate you or 1 million views that they all love you, you're still getting
Clicks
1
or
million views,
clicks.
clicks or clicks. And so it's hard to decipher between the people that are being genuine and sharing actual thoughts that they have on those platforms, or if they're just coming up with an idea that they think is going to generate clicks. So it's like, I have the same thing. Like, I hardly ever like anything on social media, anything platform, just because you never know what people's agendas are on those sites and stuff like that. So yeah, responding, and people go in the comments and reply like, you're just doing this as clickbait, and try to get people to respond to you, and like, you just
fed it. You just fed the beast.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I don't know, there's a lot of things with social media that I just don't understand and don't really care to try to feed into.
I try to only give likes and follows and subscribes and things like that sparingly, but it's mostly towards art or interest or things like that. Things that I find wholesome in a way of, like, most of the things that I follow, like on TikTok or on Instagram, are like bands that I like, or I try not to follow celebrities. Like, that's a culture I don't want to be a part of, but artists, small businesses, things like that, like, absolutely, if you're making a good product and you're showing it in a good light, like, you got my support. You know, I'll like your page, I'll like your videos, I'll follow you, I'll buy your product, whatever. But most people who have even slightly controversial material, like, I don't bother, because again, like you said, it's agenda. It's what is it you're trying to get out of it. And there's a few, like, I'll say TikTok celebrities that propel a lot of things that I believe in and I agree with, you know, men's mental health, or activism towards men and things like that, or equality or motivation and all that. And it's like, I want to like that stuff, but there's always an axe to grind, and I'm not a sharpening stone.
Yeah.
If you have something that you've created and you're proud of, I'll support you. But apart from that, I'm kind of like, I'll watch your video, but I'm not going to give any validation.
Yeah. I feel the same way. Like, it's just hard to, especially if you don't know the person personally, like, what their intentions are on what they're putting out there. And yeah, I would hate to be a teenager at these, like, during social media and shit like that, just because there's so much fucking bullshit out there that, you know.
I would hate to be a teenager in any age. Being a teenager sucked.
I mean, I had fun in my teen years, but I do, like, you know, it was rough. I think all teenagers, just have, it's a weird time to go through, like, especially now, though. I think that everything is so readily at your fingertips, but at the same time, there's so much fake shit out there that's like it's hard to, especially as a teenage mind looking at stuff to recognize reality, you know.
Yeah.
Especially with like TikTok stars and like influencers and stuff like that. You have to do this and you have to do that, and why?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, that's my rant on social media, I guess.
Well, eventually I want to do another episode on social media because my views have changed a little bit and I feel different about it, but I haven't like put it into words how I feel about it. So it's definitely something I want to tackle again. With that said, we'll close this out. Be nice to each other on the internet.
Yeah.
Don't be a fucking dick.
Or be a dick, but be a dick in real life too.
Yeah, be consistent.
Just be real.
Be yourself. Everyone else is taken. Okay, I love you. Bye-bye.
Bye.